excited for the show. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Jenny. I'm ready for the weekend, get me a little sun, relax and have some fun. I don't know about you, Skip.
All I know is it's Friday, and I'm wearing GOAT, as in my Lil Wayne necklace, on GOAT, as in the logo. You know what that is. And it's worn by the GOAT.
Oh. No.
I think
It's only one GOAT in all those GOATs that you mentioned. Just one. That's Weezy. All the rest of them, nah.
Shannon, I'm pretty sure he just called himself the GOAT. That is a good way to start the show today. And I feel only appropriate that we do begin with Skip's Cowboys, because Andy Dalton is now considered one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. And while Dak Prescott continues his negotiations with the Cowboys, some think Dak may be playing with fire, having a capable veteran waiting in the wings. So we looked at the lines for next season's Cowboys games with and without Dak. Get this, according to Fox Bet, the Cowboys are worth 4 more points per game with Dak starting over Andy Dalton. So, Skip, I want to ask you about your Cowboys. Do you agree that Dak would be worth 4 extra points?
Shannon Sharp, when I saw this last night on Fox Bet, the top of my head blew off. I'm way down here in my little humble abode. You're way up there in your palatial estate in Bel Air. The top of my head blew off and went all the way to Bel Air. Look, I love Dak Prescott, but when did Dak Prescott turn into Tom Brady meets Michael Jordan? I mean, it was just last August that NFL.com came out with its annual top 100 players in the NFL survey as voted upon by the players. And Dak Prescott was not even in the top 100. And then he quarterbacked my Dallas Cowboys to an 8-8 record, during which he went 1-6 versus the playoff teams that they played last year. And he did not make the Pro Bowl because he did not play great down the stretch, especially at New England and at Philadelphia. And now you're telling me that if Andy Dalton replaces Dak Prescott, that suddenly it's going to create a 4-point swing in the betting lines? Do you realize 4 points is? It's unheard of. It's an avalanche. It's a tsunami. It's a California earthquake. It just rarely happens. And wait a second, that's enormous, and that is preposterous. It's not going to happen, because we are talking here about Andrew Gregory Dalton, the new backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Andy Dalton is a 3-time Pro Bowler. Andy Dalton, in his first 5 years for the Bungles, playing for the lousy Cincinnati Bungles, he averaged 10 wins a year for 5 years. Look it up. They made the playoffs 4 of those 5 years. He did not play well in the playoffs, but he got the Bungles to the playoffs 4 times. Over that span of those 5 years, he had the 3rd most wins in all of pro football, behind Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And in his career, he's had the 5th most fourth-quarter comebacks since his rookie year in the National Football League. In as late as 2017, he led the NFL in fourth-quarter comebacks. And dare I even mention, we're talking about the Andy Dalton who at TCU, which happens to be very near Jerry World, as a native Texan, he guided the Horned Frogs to 13-0 his last year there. They won the Rose Bowl. They finished 2nd in the nation. He has won a whole bunch of football games because he has started 133 NFL games in his career, and he's only 32 years of age. And now you're telling me that it's like Tom Brady would be replaced by Cooper Rush, who's a former backup quarterback for the Cowboys? No, it's Andy Dalton. It's not Cooper Rush. Maybe I'd give you with Cooper Rush a 4-point swing. But you're trying to tell me that Michael Jordan's going to be replaced in the starting lineup by Steve Kerr. Andy Dalton is not Steve Kerr.
2 points.
He is so much better than Steve Kerr. And in the end, Shannon, I've said this before on the show, and now I'm going to say it again with all my heart and soul. If Dak Prescott does hold out, let's do hypothetically through the whole next football season. It's a possibility as we speak. I believe that Andy Dalton, if he started all 16 games, could win 10 of them. Fox Bet says he would only be favored to win 4. So you're telling me Andy Dalton would go 4-12? No, I say he could win 10 wins with this weaponry and a top 5 offensive line and Ezekiel Elliott behind him. Are you kidding me? I'll go 10. I'm not saying he's better than Dak. Obviously, he's not. Dak might be able to win 11 or 12 games, but he's not that much worse than Dak Prescott. So in the end, I say preposterous.
So before I launch, what do you think the ideal point spread should be between Dak and Andy Dalton?
A half a point, maybe 1, maybe.
Oh, man, you
more
better
like
stop.
a half. No, I better start.
You ought to stop.
Shannon, a half a point swing at a point spread is pretty significant. Again,
It is.
This is like a hurricane hit.
Skip, well, it makes sense to me because I believe Dak is a better quarterback at this point in his career than Andy Dalton is at this point in his career. But Skip, if when you look at it, out of 32 quarterback rooms, that's only the 17th best. I mean, you're looking at Russell Wilson, he's 10 points. Lamar is 8. Patrick Mahomes is 7. So if you look at it, Drew Brees to Jameis is 3. Drew Brees to turnover machine Jameis. So, Skip, I'm not surprised that is 4 points. Now, Skip, you said they're going to go 4 and whatever. No, that means that the Cowboys would be favored. And if the line is, say, 4 points, that means it might be a pick-a ball game, Skip. You don't start the game with those points or minus those points. That's just for, people like you and myself, to pick up a cool couple of bucks. You don't gamble anymore. But anyway, but Skip, I do agree with it. I was surprised. I thought it would have been a little, honestly, I thought it was going to be a little higher. Considering, Skip, that last year Andy Dalton was 30. Listen, Andy Dalton, Skip, was 30 in QBR. He did start the season 0-8. They went to Ryan Finley, and they ended up going back to Andy Dalton. If you look at it, Drew Brees did not play particularly well, and he hasn't played well, Skip. I understand his first 5 years, but Andy Dalton has been in the league about 9 years, so the last 4 hasn't been as productive as the first 5, and you have to factor that in. Skip, he did allow them to get Joe Burrow on his watch. He started. There's a reason why they got Joe Burrow. But, Skip, when you look at it, 4 points is really not a lot. When you look at some of the other quarterbacks, and you're like, that's it. At least he's not Mitchell Trubisky. It matters, too. So, in other words, they're losing points by starting Trubisky as opposed to starting Nick Foles, Skip. But 4 points, Skip, and I get what you're saying, because normally you get 3 points for the home field. Especially if you're playing at home, you get 3 points. So, basically, they're saying, if Dak does not play, he's 4 points better in every single game than Andy Dalton. And I can see that, Skip, because I do believe that right now, as we speak, that Dak Prescott is a considerably better. I'm not talking about. I think what you're doing, you're trying to fact this like they got Dak like a Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. And I'm not saying that, but I do believe Skip, he's 4 points better than Andy Dalton. And I believe they will win more games. They will be in contention in more